Good day, I-Believers! Kamusta kayo? It's a very great day to learn. We have a very special guest na talaga namang tunay na nakakamangha. Are you ready, I-Believers? Let us welcome our math wizards.
Hello, I-Believers! Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Magandang araw sa iyo, Mr. Cesar. And we are your math wizard. I am Mara Caspillo.
And I am Alessandro Cansado. And nandito kami with you guys to learn and enjoy, drumroll please, physics! Because physics is everywhere.
Wow, that was an amazing introduction. Bago tayo magpatuloy, nais ko kayo sanang tanungin, ano nga ba ang physics? At ano-ano ang mga pag-aaralan natin ngayon?
Those are great questions, Rosistel. What exactly is physics? This branch of science deals with matter, energy, motion, and force. Interesting, right?
Our lesson for today consists of 3 topics. First is the scalar and vector quantity, then the components of the vector, and lastly, unit vectors. Here are some of the terms that we need to know before starting this topic. First is all about the basic knowledge for triangles. Hypotenuse. This is the longest side or part of a right angle triangle. Next is the adjacent, or the side next to the given angle. Opposite, the side across the given angle, and the points A, B, and C.
Let's proceed now to the Pythagorean theorem and terms. What exactly is Pythagorean? Pythagorean theorem is a right triangle rule that can be used and determine the length of one side given the other 2 sides. This rule was credited by Pythagoras, an ancient Greek mathematician and philosopher who made important development in mathematics. According to this rule, the square of the longest side equals the sum of the squares of the 2 shorter sides. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, let's talk about tan cosine. Sine, cosine, and tangent are the main function used in trigonometry and are based on right-angled triangle. Tan is the ratio of length of the side opposite an angle to the length of the side adjacent to the angle in the right triangle. Cosine relates the ratio of length of the side adjacent to an angle to the length of the hypotenuse in the right triangle. And lastly, the sine, the ratio of the length of the side opposite an angle to the length of the hypotenuse in a right triangle. In short, just remember the formula, sine is equals to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. And lastly, tangent is equals to opposite over adjacent or SOHCAHTOA.
Wait! Additional information. Bukod pa nga sa pinagsasabi natin ngayon, mahalagang malaman at matalakay din kung ano nga ba yung tinatawag na Cartesian plane. Ano nga ba ito? Ang Cartesian plane ay kalimitan talagang ma-encounter sa subject na mathematics. It is a plane formed by the intersection of 2 coordinate axes that are perpendicular to each other. The Cartesian plane is named after the French mathematician and philosopher René Descartes, who introduced the coordinate system to show how algebra could be used to solve geometric problems. Makikita nga sa Cartesian plane ang dalawang linya. Ang dalawang linya na ito ay tinatawag na axis. The horizontal axis is called the x-axis, while the vertical one is the y-axis. These axes intersect with each other at the origin or zeros. Amazing, right?
Oh yes, Mara. But since nasabi mo na yung mga information about Cartesian plane, dapat masabi rin natin kung ano nga ba yung mga directions. Alam ko na familiar na kayo dito, since elementary pa lang ay pinag-aaralan na ito. Direction is the pathway along which an object is moving. It is also the location of a feature based on the position of another feature. Mayroong tinatawag na cardinal at ordinal directions. But let's just focus on 4 cardinal directions. We have north, east, south, and west, often marked as the initial N, E, S, and W.
Wow! Talaga namang mga math wizard ang ating nakasama ngayong araw. You are unbelievable. Now, let us move on to a very fun experience that will surely test our knowledge and skills. Are you ready, guys?
Hello! We are now at Manuel S. University Foundation Basic Education Department SECA, and we are here to test something.
Are you guys ready? Because we certainly are. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, go!
What a fun activity! Ngayong araw naman ay ating pag-usapan ang ating unang topic. Ano nga ba ang scalar at vector? What are its differences? Basically, scalars are quantities that only have magnitude or size, while vectors have both magnitude and direction. A magnitude in scalar tells us the numerical value and unit of a quantity. In vector, an arrow serves as the symbol for it, kung saan nirepresenta nito ang haba ng direction. The origin is represented by the tail of the arrow, while the head indicates the vector direction. Para mas maintindihan natin ang konsepto, narito ang isang halimbawa mula sa activity na ginawa kanina. If I say that the swing moves 1 meter, we can call it as a scalar quantity, because I just described the magnitude or the size of the movement. But if I say the swing moves 1 meter going forward, now we can call it vector, as there is a direction. Vector addition. Ano naman kaya ang vector addition? Vector addition is defined as the geometrical sum of two or more vectors, kung saan involved dito ang distance at displacement. Now, let's define distance and displacement. Distance is the length of the actual path traveled. Take note that distance is a scalar quantity and the magnitude can simply be added as long as they have the same unit regardless of the direction. While displacement is the length and direction of the change in position measured from the starting point. Take note din na this is a vector quantity naman. Para mas maintindihan natin lalo, magkaroon tayo ng halimbawa kung saan nahanapin natin ang distance and displacement. Ito ang halimbawa. Eunice want to go to the canteen, so she walked 3 meters north, then 4 meters west. Determine the distance traveled by Eunice and the displacement. Given, first is 3 meters north, second is 4 meters west. Need to determine is the distance traveled by Eunice and the displacement. Take note, when adding vectors, one must take into account their direction. In this case, the cardinal direction north, east, south, and west, as well as the previously discussed Cartesian coordinate system or Cartesian plane can be applied. To find the distance, we simply add the given 3 meters plus 4 meters, which is equivalent to 7 meters. Displacement. To find the displacement, we will just use the Pythagorean theorem. Kanina na-discuss na ang Pythagorean theorem, pero hayaan nyo ulit akong sabihin ang formula, which is the a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Or pwede natin gamitin rin ang square root of c is equal to a squared plus b squared. Ngayon, isasubstitute natin ang given to sa formula. Square root of 3 squared plus 4 squared. So 3 squared is 9 and 4 squared is 16. We will add them and the sum is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. Pero hindi pa doon nagtatapos dahil kailangan din natin hanapin ang angle. To find the angle, we will use the abbreviation TOA. A formula means tan is equal to opposite divided by the adjacent. Na-discuss din to kanina and nire-recall lang natin. So ngayon, isasubstitute natin ang given 4 divided by 3, which is equal to 1.33. Ngayon, para mas madalian tayo, we will simply type them in scientific calculator, shift tan, then 1.33. The answer will be 53.06. But since angle ang kukunin, ang kailangan lang natin kunin ay the whole number, which is 53. The final answer in displacement is 5 meters 53 degrees west of north. Resultant vector. This means two or more vectors that represented by a single vectors. This vector may be found by using graphical method, Pythagorean theorem, or the component method. Para mas maintindihan natin na maigi, magkaroon tayo ng halimbawa. Example, the cars drive at 100 meters per second in north, then turn to east at 500 meters per second as they finish the race. What is the car's resultant velocity? Given, vector 1 is 100 meters per second north, vector 2 is 500 meters per second east. Required to find is the resultant velocity. Solution, you can see that we draw first the vector diagram. The vector diagram shows that the vectors form a right triangle, where VR is equal to C, the hypotenuse of the triangle, vector 1 is equal to A, one side of the right triangle, and vector 2 is equal to B, the other side of the triangle. Using Pythagorean theorem, C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared, or VR squared is equal to vector 1 squared plus vector 2 squared. Now we will gonna substitute the given. So VR squared is equal to 100 meter per second squared plus 500 meters per second squared. The result will be 509.90 meters squared. To determine the direction of the resultant velocity, use the equation. Tan is equal to opposite side divided by adjacent side, or A divided by B. So, ngayon, isasubstitute ulit natin yung given, which is A sa 100 and B sa 500. 100 meter per second divided by 500 meter per second is equivalent to 0.2. Ngayon, ilalagay natin sa scientific calculator ang sheet tan 0.2 and the answer will be 11.31 degree. And the final answer for resultant velocity is 509.90 meter per second, 11.31 degree north of east. Upang madagdagan pa nga ang inyong mga kaalaman at mas lalong maintindihan ang konsepto ng vector, talakayin natin ang pangalawang topic, ang components of a vector. In the addition of vectors, we find a single vector that is equivalent to two or more vectors, kung saan the reverse can be done to a single vector. We can find two or more vectors which when added result in the original vector. The two vectors x and y are called the x vector component and the y vector components of R respectively. This can be expressed in the vector equation below. R is equal to x plus y. Note that this means that when vector x and vector y are added vectorially, the result is the original vector R. Para maunawaan pa natin, narito ang halimbawa. A force of 70 Newton is applied by a student on the handle of a broom held to 45 degrees with the floor while cleaning. How much force is pushing the map across the floor? So, sa problem nito, ang given natin is force is equal to 70 newtons with an angle of 45 degrees. Kung i-visualize natin yung problem, we can form a right triangle kung saan ang 70 newton is nakadiagonal at ang hahanapin natin is the vertical line at ang horizontal line. Ang vertical line is pwede nating anuhin sa Fy o Y component. Ang horizontal line naman ay Fx or X component. Paano nga ba natin ito kukunin? So, makukuha natin to gamit ang trigonometric function. Ano nga yung trigonometric function? Ito yung na-discuss kanina kung saan ito yung SOHCAHTOA. Para mas madali natin maintindihan, sinabi yung SOHCAHTOA. Ano nga ba yung SOHCAHTOA? Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. Para makuha ang f of x or x component, gagamitin natin yung k, which is cosine over is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So, alam na natin yung hypotenuse, which is the 70 Newton. Diba kasi ang hypotenuse, yun yung pinakamahabang line. So, yun naka-diagonal. So, 70 Newton yung hypotenuse. So, isa-substitute lang natin, cosine 45 degrees. Ita-type natin yun sa calculator, which is, ang lalabas is 0.7071. Tapos, sa kabila naman is equal to A kasi yun yung hahanapin natin, yung adjacent over 70 Newton. So, para makuha natin, ililipat natin 70 Newton sa kabila. So, magiging times siya. 0.7071 times 70 is equal to A, which is the adjacent or X component. Ang sagot is 49.497. Tapos, para naman makuha ang f of y or y component, gagamit naman tayo ng saw. Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So, katulad kanina, sinubstitute lang natin. So, sine 45 degrees, type ulit natin sa calcu, ang lalabas ay 0.7071. Tapos, sa kabila naman, O, kasi yung hinahanap natin yung opposite yung nawawala. So, ang baba naman ay, katulad kanina, meron na tayo hypotenuse which is 70. So, opposite over 70 Newton. Kaso, para masagutan natin o masolve natin, ililipat natin yung 70 Newton sa kabila. So, transpose, so magiging times 0.7071 times 70 is equal to opposite. Ang sagot is 49.497 or y component. So, saan nanggaling naman yung 2.475 centimeters? Kasi meron tayong scale na ginamit. 1 cm is equal to 20 Newton. Paano nakuha yun? So, yung 49.497, i-divide natin yun sa 20 Newton. Ang sagot is 2.475. Para i-check naman yung nakuha nating final answer, pwede tayong gumamit ng Pythagorean theorem which is c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Para mawala yung squared, magiging c is equal to square root of a squared plus b squared. So, nakuha natin 49.497. Isa-substitute lang natin sa a and b. So, 49.497 squared plus 49.497 squared is equal to 2449.953 plus 244953. Ang magiging sagot is 4899.90 m6. Square root natin yun, ang sagot is 70. So, gagamitin ulit natin yung scale na 1 cm is equal to 20 Newton. So, 70 divided 20 Newton is 3.5 cm. Ibig sabihin, tama yung sagot natin kasi nakuha natin hypotenuse na 70 Newton. Now, let's proceed to the last topic for today. Ito ang unit vector, kung saan ang unit vectors are in a set of length 1 in the direction of each of the coordinate axes. Or basically, it's a dimensionless vector of magnitude equal to 1. Kaya nga ito tinawag na unit vector which only mean one unit vector. Moreover, the only thing that unit vectors do is to specify the direction. In the Cartesian plane, we indicate the x and y. But in the unit vector, we add the unit vectors I and j. Using the unit vectors I and j, we can write the vector A as A is equal to AXI plus AYJ, where I and j are dimensionless. Para mas maintindihan ulit natin, narito ulit ang halimbawa. Let's have a coordinate system where we have a point 3 and 4. 3 in x direction and 4 up in y direction. And let's have a vector A. We can write the vector in terms of unit vectors by A is equal to 3i plus 4j, where ax is equal to 3 and ay is equal to 4. But how we are going to solve for unit vectors? First, we are gonna find the vector A using the Pythagorean theorem. V is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. Let's just substitute the value. 3 squared is equal to 9 and 4 squared is equal to 16. The sum is 25, then the square root of 25 is 5. As you can see, it has a magnitude of 5, contracted of the meaning of a unit vector. To find it, we simply divide both sides from the value of the vector. The final answer is A is equal to 3 divided 5 plus 4 divided 5. We can check it by doing Pythagorean theorem where the answer will be 1. Grabe, what a day! Talaga naman sobrang bagong knowledge ang nag-gain natin ngayong araw.
It was fun learning physics as well as its properties.
Even if it's a little complicated, with the help of a formula and the patience, talaga namang magagawa natin ito.
At sa pamamagitan nga ng video ito, sana inatulungan namin kayong mas maunawaan at maintindihan ang mga naging lessons natin ngayong araw.
Salamat I-Believers sa pagsama sa amin sa paglalakbay sa mundo ng physics. And of course, to our math wizard, Miss Mara Castillo and Miss Alessandra Cansado, who guided us along the journey. Thank you po. You guys are indeed unbelievable. Hanggang sa muli, mga I-Believers, ako si Recestor Kakam.
Remember that physics is everywhere. And that is what we believe. Paalam! Bye!
Good day, I-Believers. Kamusta kayo? It's a very great day to learn. We have a very special guest na tunay na Isa ba?
Alin dun? Alis na dun si Beboy.
Doon ka alis sa...
Interesting, right?
This branch of science deals with matter, energy, motion, and force. Interesting, right?
Yes.
Nakakainis daw kay Beboy! Sabi ko, alis na! Ikaw, feel ko rinig. Sabi ko kay Bebe, alis ka na. Doon ka lang.
Ulitin natin.
Yung force, those are games.
Sabi niyo lang, mic this, mic this.
Low, 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 low. Low. Hello! We are now at Manuel S. Enrique University Foundation Basic Education Playground. Department pa na.
Genies travel to the afterlife.
Grabe, what a day. Parang pagod na pagod.
Grabe, what a day!
And of course, for our math wizard. Oh no. Thank you po. Okay.
Huwag ka umalis, Beboy.
Akala,
Si Beboy, ganun na ganun!
seryoso ba?
Oo, ulit
Alam mo, kanina pa ako nag-aaral.
Kasi pag nagalaw ka, natunog-tunog.
Nakakainis. What a fun activity. Ngayong araw naman ay ating pag-usapan ang ating unang topic. What a fun activity. Ngayon naman ay ating pag-usapan ang unang topic. Nakainis ako. Nakakainis. What a fun activity. Ngayon namang araw ay ating pag-usapan ang ating unang topic. Videohan kayo. Diyan mo kung basag.